Who is going to win the final season finals of 2021? Can you refer to yourself as a team? And what does it mean to be back in a jiffy? All of these questions will be answered in today's episode of StarCraft Today.
StarCraft Today.
Your favorite StarCraft news show. It took Blizzard 384 hours or 16 days to respond to the fact that the Archon mode had been accidentally removed from the ladder. Community member Pass Radar commented in a Battle.net forums thread and said, "Team is aware and is working on it. This will be back," stating that the Archon mode will most likely make a return, somewhat in the future. If it took them 16 days to respond to a forum post and actually be aware of the fact that Archon mode was missing, I'm sure we can expect Archon mode to be back by 2024. With the DreamHack Masters Season Finals winter around the corner, I thought it would be cool to have a look at who's hot and who's not. The first player that we will be looking at is Clem, the little corporal as the young Frenchman is also called, is definitely hot at this moment, coming off a stay-at-home Story Cup 4 victory where he managed to take out Serral in the finals. And although he did beat Serral in that finals, Clem's TVZ has been slacking a little bit lately, whereas before he was by far the greatest TVZ player in the world and he was practically winning every single series, every single game. These days, he has been losing every now and again, and it has become a little bit dangerous to just put all your money on him in a TVC. However, it feels like his TVP has improved over that same period. Taking out Zest, like I mentioned before, in that stay-at-home Story Cup, shows that Clem can do it on the highest stage. The only problem is that his TVT, especially against Koreans, isn't quite what it's supposed to be. Out of the last 5 series against Korean Terrans, he lost 4 of them. And there are a couple of pretty decent Korean Terrans in the season finals as well. The president of Finland has been fortunate enough to meet the second player. And of course it's going to be Serral, the young Finn. Yes, he's still only 23. Managed to get quite a few decent wins lately, as he managed to take out the last season finals, getting first place there, getting the first place in the most recent DreamHack Masters in Europe as well, taking home the Pigsty Festival in first place, taking out Raynor, taking out Trap in the semifinals. It seems that Serral is absolutely marvelous in especially ZVP and ZVT. Bar that one loss against Clem in the stay-at-home Story Cup, he's been having an absolute blast in these 2 matchups. In ZVZ, there are some possibilities for maybe a Dark, maybe a Rogue to take a couple of maps, maybe even take a series. And that's where the real danger lies for Serral. I feel like in ZVP and ZVT though, it's going to be very difficult. And that's why Serral is the favorite for me in this tournament. If you have been cheering for Cure in the past few years, you're like your one uncle that cheers for the team that always gets 18th in the league. And then finally they win something. The Leicester City of StarCraft 2, I would say. And this year it finally happened. Cure actually won the GSL Season 3. And as a Cure fan myself, I was very confused. I wasn't sure if I wanted to feel happy or sad, but it definitely was outside of the expectations. Cure had made a GSL finals before, but winning it felt like wasn't really in the books for him. Now that he's done it, perhaps he's ready to taste victory a couple more times. He's still feeling very strong in especially TVP and TVT, but he does drop the ball sometimes. And the inconsistency of Cure is something that worries me. Sure, if Venus and Mars align, Cure is going to play absolutely marvelous. And sure, if everything is correct, he wakes up at the right time and his breakfast is perfect, he's going to play a banging game. But there's also days where Mars and Venus don't align and Cure just looks a little bit weaker. I hope that Cure can do it, but I don't think we're gonna get much more than a top 8 finish here for Cure. He participated in the GSL 27 times. He's the current rank 2 on Aliglak. Maru is a man that everyone loves to talk about and that everyone loves to cheer for, but hasn't really shown it yet this year. Second place in the summer finals is his best international performance. Second place in the season 1 of the GSL. The best Korean performance. Also managed to get 3rd and 4th place on Katowice. But the rest of the year, he hasn't really been performing that hot. Well, if I would be getting the performances that Maru has been getting, I'd be very happy. But for Maru, this isn't that great of a year. Not a single big tournament victory yet. He sometimes struggles with Zergs. Just in the last week, losing to Solar, Dark, and Rogue. And this is the caliber of Zerg player that you definitely need to be beating if you want to win a tournament. If you're happy with a top 8 finish, then sure, lose to them. But I think Maru is meant for more. And especially if he can play a lot of TVT and a bunch of TVPs, I think Maru can do it. And I'm putting him at a semi-final finish here. Being a Dark fan has to be the most exciting thing in the world, as Dark tends to get behind in every single game he plays, and then through sheer power of will, mechanics, decision making that is unparalleled, he manages to fight himself back into the game. If only his early game was a little bit better, I think he would be a 12-time champion this year alone. However, so far Dark only managed to win one GSL, well, only one GSL. There's 3. He managed to win 1. That's pretty decent. But the rest of the year has been a bit of a fluke. Got a top 8 finish in the latest season finals, but that isn't really what Dark fights for. Dark is a player that needs to win. He won the global finals in 2019, and that is the level that we expect out of the Korean Zerg. And if he doesn't really brush up on that early game, I'm just afraid we're going to see a top 8 finish here for Dark and not much higher. Rank 11 on Aliglak, the man that should never win a tournament but always does. It is Trap, who's won 6 Premier tournaments in the past 12 months, but also lost to Armani and Gerald in the past week. He's a player that absolutely thrives in an environment in which he can prepare, and the season finals tends to be that environment. He got 2nd place last time in the season finals. He's been winning every single time, especially when he gets through the group stages, and I don't really see an issue with him here in the group stages. If I look at Trap as a player, I think to myself, he's not going to make it. He's going to get a top 8, a top 4 finish, and that's where it's going to stop. But experience teaches me that every single time I underestimate a Trap, I have been wrong. So I'm going to put him in a final spot here, perhaps even a winner. It's based on nothing but the past results, and I know past results do not give a guarantee to the future, but they're a damn good predictor. The next guy is so unpredictable that when I went to a crystal ball lady, she just threw the ball at me and told me to get the hell out because she ain't touching Zest with a 10-foot pole. This guy plays brilliant StarCraft one day and absolutely garbage StarCraft the next hour. It is impossible to predict how he is going to be doing. He could drop out in the group stage 0-4. He could go 4-0 and then drop out 0-3 the next day, showing games that look like a diamond. He could also just straight Royal Road through the bracket and then get 2nd or 1st place. I have absolutely no idea what Zest is going to be doing. His playstyle is going to be slightly predictable. He's going to be doing the same things again and again, game after game. There's going to be a lot of triple Stargate Void Ray into fast carriers against Zerg. There's going to be a lot of Blink openers and a couple of Oracle openers against Terran. And against Protoss, we're going to see a lot of aggression with perhaps a Robo and 3 gates in the early game. But what the results are going to be, I don't know. You tell me. I'm putting him at a top 8 finish. Rogue, the man who doesn't wake up unless there's a 100k prize waiting for the winner of the tournament, will be playing this season finals, even though there isn't 100,000. Last time around he got 8th place, or well, 5th to 8th place. He won GSL Season 1 this year as well, so he knows how to win. He's still capable of it. He just hasn't been showing it that much lately. Inconsistent performances, seemingly changing day by day. If he prepared very well for this tournament, I can see him get far. I can see a semifinals. I can't see him get much further than that. I just don't feel like his stability is good enough. He isn't stable enough of a player. I don't see him beat Clem. I don't really see him beat Cyril, although it is possible. And I think he'll struggle a lot with all of the tosses, Trap, Zest, that might make it through. Top 4, top 8. We'll put him at top 4. Rogue. With all of that info out of the way, let's get into the actual predictions. Group A, Trap, Cure, T-Ball, and Scarlet. In my mind, Trap 1st place, Cure 2nd. However, if Trap loses in the winner's match to Cure, I believe Scarlet can take out Trap. It's not a guarantee, but I think it's going to be something like 40-60 in favor of Trap, but it's a real possibility. So I'd say Trap 1, Cure 2nd, except if Cure wins the winner's match. Then Trap might just drop out in the group stage. In Group B, we have Clem, Neep, Zest, and Cyan. I think it's pretty obvious what I'm going to say. Clem and Zest will get out Zest in first place, I think, Clem in second. However, Cyan has shown that he's capable of taking out good Terran players. He took out Time in the Chinese DreamHack Masters, and he's been showing that he is a force to be reckoned with, especially in PvT. I don't think any of the other tosses can take out Zest, neither Neep nor Cyan can, but Clem perhaps could fall out. It just is very unlikely. Zest first, Clem second. In Group C, we have Dark, Rogue, Marine Lord and Special. First match being Rogue versus Marine Lord, and I think this is the match where we're going to see the only upset. Marine Lord will beat Rogue, Dark will beat Special, Marine Lord will lose to Dark, Special will lose to Rogue, and then Rogue will win the rematch against Marine Lord, getting Dark in first place and Rogue in second, Marine Lord third, and Special sadly in the last place. Group D is probably the hardest to call, with Showtime, Maru, Serral, and Nice. In my opinion, Maru and Serral are the absolute favorites, but Maru has been dropping against some pretty mediocre tosses lately, and Showtime is no mediocre toss, so it is completely possible that Showtime puts on a performance and actually takes out Maru, however unlikely. I still believe that Serral is going to get first place and Maru second, but there is a possibility that Showtime manages to sneak in. This week's game of the week is between Clem and MaxPax, and it was played on 2000 atmospheres. What started as an easy game for Clem with a nice 3-rex pressure followed up by a relatively big lead, an active mid game. Everything was fine until the Fire Nation until the 2 disruptor shots managed to hit the entire army of Clem. At the same time, DT is going ham in the base of Clem as well. Clem still managed to take back some control, but one bad fight on the left side, a base trade ensued, and MaxPax showed once again that he is the absolute master of chaos. Of course, this week we also had 3 ESL Open Cups. On Sunday it started in Korea with a very weak player field, I have to admit. Nightmare making it to the finals, where he ends up losing against Hero. Skillet, playing from Russia on the Korean server, managing to get to the semis after beating Biol and Ragnarok is impressive, but this was the weakest Korean Cup that I've seen in quite a while, and probably also one of the weaker winners that I've seen in a while. Congrats to Hero, of course, but none of the big hitters really were there, except for Zaun perhaps. Moving over to Europe, we saw a stacked field once again. Hero Marine getting knocked out in the semis, Clem getting knocked out in the other semis, which meant we actually got a PvP finals. Very rare that neither of the big European Terrans managed to make it into the finals. Showtime profited of this and managed to take out MaxPax in a very close and exciting PvP finals. 3-1. Congrats to Showtime there, winning the European. Moving over to America, we saw Solar get to the finals, where he met Parting and actually managed to take out Parting 3-2 as Solar takes another win, and I believe this evens him out with Zest when it comes to EPT America Open Cup wins. I believe both of them have 16 right now, so good job there, Solar, staying close to Zest. Solar, by the way, in the semifinals managed to take out Rattata. Now I hear you guys think, isn't Rattata the rat-like looking Pokemon? That's correct, but it is also the player formerly known as Vanya, as in a wave of bad name changes lately, we now have Vanya into Rattata and Sol into Spirit. Fantastic. This week's clip of the week is a cleaning bot doing more than just cleaning.
I was losing it because I saw the exact same thing happen. You're like, oh, maybe if the critter blocks the pylon, and it literally happened, and I howled, and I was like, oh no, there's no way this happens. Look, watch this.
Oh
the
my
cleaner
God.
bot's like, yo, what's up, pylon? See you later. And then the boys get in, and it's just pro massacre town, and you can feel the frustration from that one. That was rough.
That's going to be it for today's episode of StarCraft Today, but not before I tell you what it means to be back in a jiffy. A jiffy actually was defined by Gilbert Newton Lewis as the amount of time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum, which is 33.4 picoseconds, or about 1 trillionth of a second. So if you say you'll be back in a jiffy, you better be back real darn fast, just like you should hit that like button in a jiffy right now. Bang. All right, that's going to be it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time for a new thing. Bye-bye. Subscribe.